My channel. I am Princess of Aesthetically Princess. Hi, hello. If you're new here, hi, I am Princess. Here on my channel I do almost sort of things from journaling to sit and talk videos to even a few, fashion videos. I do a little bit of a wild stuff around here. Haven't been doing much of that recently, mostly because it's been a time in the world. But today we're actually doing a sit down and talk video that is just me being an annoying. Okay, I am deciding today to do a TV show analysis. So I have actually been enjoying 3 shows for the first half of 2021. Half of 2021 I've been enjoying a few shows, and I wanted to actually sit down and talk about them because they're all really different genres. And I actually want to talk about a few shows that I kind of want to recommend to you guys. So let's get into the video. So what I am doing today, show analysis, like I said, but in particular I'm trying to analyze 3 of my favorite shows. First one is a show called Vincenzo, which you can find on Netflix. Second one is a show called A Tale of 1,000 Stars, which you can find on YouTube. And the third one is Killer and Healer, which you can also find on YouTube. All 3 of these are Asian dramas, so I'm more of a fan of Asian dramas. I of course still watch US dramas and US movies and TV shows. Recently I've been really getting into all of the Batman animated movies, so that's what I'm working my way through currently. But today we are going through and we are analyzing honestly 3 very popular shows that are really flipping good, and these are how we're gonna do it. So first things first, we're gonna go in order of the way I finished them. So we're gonna start with A Tale of 1,000 Stars. I started it at the beginning of, I'm gonna say late January, early February, and then it ended about March or so. So it's about 10 episodes. You can find it on a channel called GMMTV on YouTube, and just type in A Tale of 1,000 Stars. So A Tale of 1,000 Stars is actually a BL, which means it's a boys love drama, so it's gay. And you have 2.5 main characters. I'm gonna have her because she spends most of the show dead, but the story still revolves around her, and a great fit. So you have Tor Fun, then you also have our main character Tien, and then you also have his love interest Pufa. So this show is about Tor Fun, Tien, and Pufa. Tien is a young rich heir to all this money, specifically in Thailand. I forgot to tell you this, but this show is in Thai. It does come with subtitles, so no problems there. But it does, still speak in Thai. But actually, one of the fun things about this is, you'll be spending most of the show in rural Thailand, not in main city Thailand, Bangkok and things like that. You'll be spending it in rural Chiang Mai, so that's going to be fun. But the show follows Tien, who is a young rich party boy with actually a heart disease. He actually has a heart disease, and he is currently dying. The day that the show kind of starts on is Tor Fun, the young woman who ends up passing in the show. That's going to be easy to tell because she passes right now. She is coming back from being a teacher in a rural town in Chiang Mai, being a volunteer teacher. She's coming to visit her mom, and as she's getting off the bus, she's looking at a picture that she has in her book, and that is so conveniently called A Tale of 1,000 Stars. She has this journal in her hand. Her picture flies out of her hand and it flies into the road. She walks into the road and gets hit by a car. It is fatal and she passes. Tien, on the other hand, is currently, as the show starts, partying it out, getting a little wild, getting a little crazy, gambling his car away and his wash away, gambling a bunch of his items away, which this is the first time you see him, and you can tell that he has no regards for his life and or his safety, because one of the first things he says is he's taking off his watch and he's putting it on the table to gamble away. His friend is like, "Didn't your dad give me that?" He's like, "I can't take it with me." And so as they're leaving, they decide to, instead of continuing gambling here at the casino, they are going to go street racing, which should be fun. But as they're making their way out to go street racing, he has a small heart problem. It's a really good idea of this young man, this young rich guy who is just not able to enjoy life as he would wish he would. But as the show goes on, you find out, the different things about his heart disease, how it was diagnosed, how long he's had it, and kind of how his life is living at this point. But he does have some heart problems, and his friends rush him off to the hospital. His doctor tells his parents, he's not going to survive unless we can find him a heart. So this is a dire situation. It's been dire for a very long time. There was no way to cure his heart disease unless he got a new heart, and they haven't been able to find a compatible heart donor until Torfun. Torfun ends up passing, like I said, but she has signed herself up to donate her organs, which I really commend her for. That's really very, very sweet of her. But she ends up, donating her organs, and her heart is a match for him. So he ends up taking her heart. He doesn't know this. He doesn't know that it's Torfun in the first half of this show is, well, he doesn't know it's Torfun in the first half of this episode, but it's really cute, really good idea. He's asleep after his surgery, and he has a dream about a young woman and a young man, well, older man, but a young woman who she walks up to him, and she puts her hand on his chest and says, "Take care of it for me." And that's when the show really starts. It's really good. I'm very happy with how this show ended and how it went on. Like I said, it's really cool idea. So we're still following Tien, and as he is, recovering from this sad, change to his life. He now has a new heart. He has some things that are detrimental for that he takes care of himself for. So with this new heart, it could randomly start one, contracting the disease that he did have, b it could just be rejected by his body as a whole. So a few months later, we are seeing him kind of like be not really controlled, but being overprotected by his mom. His mom is really overprotective of him at this point. She did almost lose her kid. We can commend her for that. So she's really taking care of him. He's on a very strict diet. He's on a very strict exercise regime. He's not allowed outside. He's not allowed to drink. She keeps him as safe and as confined as possible. And so one day he goes out. He decides to go out with his friends. He ends up not drinking while he's there, but they're kind of just hanging with him. He doesn't know what happened with the Torfun situation. He doesn't know what happened and how he got his heart, but he's been having a few odd moments here and there where he just sees a young woman who he has no idea who she is. And so he decides to branch out and try and figure out whose heart he has, because he's dealing with some stuff mentally that is really starting to, bother him. Understandable. You just had a whole heart transplant. I feel you, my guy. It's okay. But as the show progresses, he ends up finding out that Torfun was the person who donated the heart, and he decides, to go visit her family. He ends up visiting her family and finding the journal, A Tale of 1,000 Stars. He ends up reading it and deciding that in this moment, I want to go and help her live out her dreams. As she ended up giving her heart, I want to go through her journal, and I want to live out her last wishes that she wanted to have. So he ends up making the executive decision to go to the village that she was teaching in, the rural village in Shanghai. It's very interesting. It's a very cool show. And so our show just kind of follows him as he makes his way into not only the hearts of the villagers there, but also the heart of the chief of this village, who is Chief Pufa. So quick rundown of Chief Pufa. He is the head chief of this village, though you'll see him very few times. In the first half of the show, you'll see him doing a raid in the forest around the rural town that they live in. You'll see him at Torfun's funeral, and then you'll see him at a event that Tien is also at. They kind of pass each other. Tien looks at him. Pufa has no idea who this man is. That's okay. But he is the chief of this small village. He is a part of the military that protects this village. He's also in charge of making sure that the border that is close to this particular village doesn't get crossed, because there has been a recent drug trafficking over this particular line. So he's kind of in charge of that, and he's been trying to figure out how they're getting, the drugs across. So he's very much in charge. He's got like a few people that are under him. When I think about the show, I think about mainly, of course, the main thing, which is Tien and his heart, because like I said, he's got a strict diet. When we are in the show, it's only been about like 7 months since his heart surgery. It's kind of still fresh. He should still be on his diet. He's not supposed to be doing any strenuous exercise. He's not supposed to be eating anything weird or greasy. He's not supposed to be in very clogged air, nowhere near a large amount of dust. He should be not running, and the area around here should not be, attacked at any time, and he shouldn't be doing anything that could be a problem for him. The show's actually really good, really sweet. The main couple are absolutely adorable, and their chemistry on screen is flipping awesome. They are actors Earth and Mix. Mix plays Tien, Earth plays Chief Pufa, and they've actually been friends for 7 years, so their chemistry on screen is going to be top notch. This is actually Mix's, so the person who plays Tien's first time acting in a TV show. He's been guest starred in like random shows here and there, and then he's also done some singing and things like that. But overall, I think he did great acting in this show. If I think about the show, it's really good ending, really sweet show. You don't really get any too big jump scares. It's nothing scary. As for like, you know, angst and anything like that, my child's got a heart disease, so of course there's going to be a few heart problems. There's a good amount of angst, but not as much as the next two shows I'm going to be giving you, but still a good amount of angst. So show's really good. Only 10 episodes though. Very quick. It's completely finished, so you can just go binge watch it if you really want to. And I think you can finish it in about 2 or so days. Put it on in like the background and make sure you keep your eyes on the subtitles, but like it's really good. I really like it. If I had to rate it, it would be a good 9 out of 10 because it was a good show. It had a great ending. If I had to rate it on an angst level, I would give it just a simple 4 out of 10 for the angst level. Good show. 30 out of 10 would recommend if this is kind of your thing. Next show is the next show that I finished, which is Killer and Healer. 37 episodes. You can find it here on YouTube, and I think it might be on like some different Asian apps. I don't know. I did not make the executive choice to find it. This one is not a BL. This is not even really. I'm not even gonna call it straight. It's a bromance. That's what it's called. It is a version of almost BL, but it's like the show is usually 2 guys who are like best friends, soulmates, like, you know, platonic soulmates, and then there's usually female characters. But in this show, the main character, there's only like one female character who would be interested in either 2 of the main characters, and the other guy's the guy that she's interested in. I feel like he gives such a romantic, asexual energy. Okay, maybe not asexual. He's sexually active, I guess, but very much a romantic energy. Even in the show at one point he says, "I don't want weird women around me." Yeah, no women. I'm sorry, he's not a romantic type. And that's okay. But the show is called Killer and Healer. It is about a doctor and a cop, a cab heavily in this show. The police brutality in this show is just, even if it is a show about cops, police brutality is off the charts. Okay. We have 2 male main characters. We have the doctor and the cop. I always cannot say their names correctly, so I'm going to call them the doctor and the cop. So we have our doctor and our cop. The main focus of this show is to end opium. So this show is set in Republican time China, so like early 1920s, 30s. Okay, it doesn't really specify in the show, so I cannot be helped. But I do have a really good like for Republican Chinese dramas. I love the fashion from them usually. I have watched now 3. I have watched this one, Winter Begonia, and I've also watched My Roommate is a Detective. All 3 really good shows, all 3 really interesting romances. But again, I think I talked about Winter Begonia before because I have also talked about reading the book currently. Anyways, back on track. So we have our cop and our doctor. The cop is currently trying to cut down on the opium trade in China at the moment because white people are white, and whiteness is something that we all don't appreciate at times. It's okay. That's okay. It's okay. But we also have a doctor who is just trying to, you know, make it. So the first episode, you end up seeing the doctor who ends up accidentally getting kidnapped by a triad on his way home after taking care of a patient, and they just kind of kidnap him so that he can help with their boss who's been attacked and hurt. So he's trying to help them when suddenly they get raided by our very nice, I'm lying, our very interesting cop. He ends up taking everybody in, even though the doctor is trying to tell him, I've been kidnapped, I'm just I would need help, I just need to get home, please. They end up still taking everyone in a cab like no other. I'm going to tell you this now. You are not going to appreciate our cop character in his copness. One, I'll tell you why, but like still, he cannot be helped at this point. We'll try and help him at some point, but you know, he cannot be helped. But he takes everyone in. Everyone goes in. They all stay in overnight. The doctor is eventually able to go home, only to learn that his younger sister is missing. His younger sister is missing, and when he tries to look for her, it's found out that she has been trafficked. She's got picked up during the night and she got trafficked. Poor thing. Poor thing. This is like really sad. So his main mission now is to find his sister, and our cop is still on his mission of finding who is trading opium in this city called Jinchang city, and they head off to Hong Kong. They head off to Hong Kong separately, and they end up meeting again. Of course, they met the first time accidentally in like the middle of a case, but they end up going towards Hong Kong. He to research the opium in the area, and then of course our doctor to go try and look for his sister there, because usually the trafficking usually happens they usually get trafficked there, and then they get trafficked outwards after that. So while they're there, they meet a young woman. She is a reporter. This very nice female reporter. She's very sweet. We love her. We appreciate her. Love her. Appreciate you. Okay. Of course, I remember her name. She's pretty. But anyways, they end up meeting this reporter. The cop meets her accidentally. He ends up getting into her house after he's been shot while they're on a case. And then the doctor ends up meeting her randomly because she finds him and is like, hey, help, I have an injured person in my house. They end up meeting, the doctor and the cop end up meeting again, and so the all three of them end up becoming friends. They end up becoming a lot closer because he's trying to find out who's in charge of the opium trade in this particular city. They end up finding him, and Churan and our doctor end up getting pulled in accidentally to this case. Churan ends up meeting the main guy. The doc ends up getting kidnapped. This will happen often. The kidnapping will happen often. No, it's not. But the kidnapping will happen often. I will tell you that. He does get kidnapped and or taken a lot. He is your damsel in distress. I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you now, the doctors are damsel in distress, and we will have to save him several times over. A lot, okay? But it's a great show. But no, all three of these people come together, and they are trying to cut down on the opium in this city. But it's like this huge tier of people, and they're just trying to work their way through each tier of people to try and get to the big boss. So mostly it is about drugs, but the main characters, the doc and the cop, are our main focus. They end up becoming a lot closer, one because the doctor has lost his sister, and they actually end up learning that they live right next to each other, literally on the same street. They never see each other because they both work odd hours, but they do know each other is there. The doc ends up actually taking care of the cop's cat. Sometimes the cat will just move between houses. He lives in both places. That's okay. But also you learn that our doctor, as a doctor, he is also going to end up actually studying some mental health problems, because our cop ends up having PTSD, bipolar disorder, and clinical depression. So they will be talking about those three things. If those things are triggering to any of you, I'm sorry. Don't watch, because the cop, poor baby, his father was, we're going to give you this quick background because they'll touch down on it a lot in the show, which is the cop's father ended up being addicted to opium, and it ended up ruining their family, causing him to abuse both his wife and his son. Randomly enough, the mother ends up going missing, and the child ends up being left to the streets and having to take care of his father until his father dies. And then he is attacked and chased down by a bunch of people who need him for the debt, but he ends up, getting away, and he ends up growing up and becoming a cop. So he has a lot of PTSD from that, and that's why he's so focused on the opium. It's a very good show. If I had to rate it on the angst level, I would say 10 out of 10 on the angst level, because the show is painful. If you thought you loved any character in this show, they will die. I'm just gonna give you that now. You don't know what characters are gonna die, but I'm gonna just go ahead and tell you, it is a Hamlet ending. So if you ever read Hamlet in school or for fun, why you would read Hamlet for fun, I don't know. But Hamlet is amongst my many low tier pieces of literature on this planet. I am not a Shakespeare kind of bitch, and honestly, most of his stories annoy me. So it's okay. That's okay. That's okay. But specifically, these fuckers. But this is like a Hamlet ending. It's just an ending where everything does not make sense for everyone to keep dying, but you will get people to keep dying over and over and over again. The last episode, it take everybody else that's standing out. Everybody that's standing, you get to go home to the Lord. I'm so sorry to tell you this, but it's a really good show. The story is really good. The storyline is really good. The chemistry between the characters, male, female, friendships, they're all so well thought out. I will say this, there's a lot of gunshots in the show because it's a cop show. I will also say fucking ACAB like a motherfucker, because even though our cop has 3 mental health problems, he still be taking that gun and he still be flying that thing around. He gets angry very easily because he has his bipolar disorder, and it usually shows in violence. But if I were to rate the show, I would also give it about an 8 out of 10, because the angst has knocked off points. I'm upset about the angst. I cried for 3 days after, and then I looked up fan fiction just so I could fix it. I looked up fix it fan fiction because I was over it. You couldn't make me do it. I was pissed. I was mad. I was mad. The show builds you up so it can break you down, and there's only 37 episodes. I know that may sound like a lot to some people, but I also need you to know shit like Grey's Anatomy has at least over 200 episodes. So, get your life. Get your life. It's a really good show. 37 episodes full of angst. If you love to cry about something, if you are looking for something to cry about, this is perfect for you. This is perfect, because I was crying most of the show. There's reason to, but I was crying most of the show. Because there are sad scenes that make you go, why? Why do I have to experience this? What have I done wrong? Nothing. But at the same time, everything. But really good. 30 out of 10. Finally, on our last show to analyze, show to recommend, we have Vincenzo. You can find Vincenzo on Netflix. Simply type it in. Very popular at the moment. All episodes are done, and it has 22 or 24. I do not quite remember. But lucky for you, you can binge all the episodes. Sadly for me, I did not binge the episodes. I was there as they were dropping episodes. So they had this thing where before the last 4 episodes, they went on a week break. So every Saturday and Sunday is when they would post an episode. They skipped the weekend. They said, you know what? Wait on it. Wait on it. Take a load off. I want you to anticipate, because now we about to get crunk. It's a great TV show. So, Vincenzo is about a Korean immigrant, Italian immigrant. He was orphaned at a young age, sent to a nunnery in Korea, and adopted by an Italian family. So, he's been spending most of his time in Italy. He ends up leaving Italy because, one, the father of this mafia that he is a part of has passed, and his brother is in charge. Because his brother is in charge, he and his brother do not necessarily get along, so he is currently leaving because his brother and he do not get along, and they are, at a point where they're trying to end each other's lives. So they're leaving. He's leaving. He's going to Korea. We appreciate that. That's okay. He has the job as a consigliere. He's like the lawyer. He's a lawyer, but he's more like a consultant more than anything. But he's a lawyer. So he goes to Korea to decide to I'm going to give you this quick rundown because this is the main reason why he is here. When he was a lawyer in Italy, he ended up coming across this Chinese mafia boss who decided he wanted to hide all of his gold. It's a lot of gold. When I say a lot, I mean a lot. But he decided he wanted to hide his gold. He decided to build this huge vault underground in Korea specifically, and then build a building on top of it. And you have to get in through a very intricate system, very intricate eye detailing system before you can get in, because if you make the attempt to get in without, you know, this system, the whole building could collapse and bury the entirety of this gold on top of it. So Vincenzo's plan is to make sure he can get in, steal the gold, and just dip. He's deciding he's going to go live off into the world by himself. Here's the thing. In this building that is on top of this vault of gold is this huge group of just people who have businesses in this particular building. He ends up buying this building from the original owner, who is also in on this get the gold and dip out plan. But he ends up becoming friends with the people in this building, including a lawyer, a man named, we're gonna call him Lawyer Hong. He is the person who is, you know, in charge of being the lawyer for everyone in this building, but also he runs a private practice within this building. Vincenzo ends up becoming, you know, just a consultant lawyer, because you have to be in a certain place for an allotted amount of time before you can be considered a, you know, actual lawyer. So he's just there as a consultant, not as like an actual lawyer at the moment. So we appreciate him. He's just chilling. What ends up happening is he ends up getting involved in this current case that the lawyer Hong is on, which is a case between a company called Babel. Babel is a pharmaceutical company in Korea who is currently battling several lawsuits because of their scientists are contracting these diseases because of these drugs that they're you know, manufacturing, and they're dying. They're contracting like diseases and cancers and stuff that is killing them, and you know, the families are trying to make sure that they can quote unquote win these things and get, you know, proper pay from these companies because they died on the job or died due to their job. But it's not really working. They're up against this huge company called Wusong, where just so happens our second main character, Hong Chaeyoung, actually works, who is Lawyer Hong's daughter, Hong Chaeyoung. She is the rival lawyer at this huge, expensive lawyer company, and she is on the other side of this Babel dispute, which he is trying to help the families of these victims, and she is trying to help this large pharmaceutical company. It starts off pretty okay, but because they're trying to do an investigation about this big corporation that don't take no, you sadly end up with Lawyer Hong passing. I think he passes in the first episode or the second episode. First episode, definitely first episode. We kill him in the first episode, but kind of just no, we kill him in the second episode. But he ends up passing. He ends up dying due to foul play. A trucker, a person in an entire truck, drives into the bar that Lawyer Hong and Vincenzo are just sitting in having a drink. An entire truck comes in and rams them both at this small table, because they're the only two people inside this building except for like the woman and the cook in the back, the owner of this place. But they both end up in critical condition, and Lawyer Hong ends up passing. Hong Chaeyoung ends up leaving Wusong, ends up leaving her company Wusong, and just, you know, deciding to pick up her father's practice at his old private practice shop. And so our story begins as they try and work with each other. Vincenzo and Hong Chae-young decide to work with each other to try and bring down this huge corporation called Babel. Here's the thing. I'm going to tell you this. This is a gory TV show, especially the last episode. The last episode is a very gory TV show. We are watching what you thought was a lawyer drama is also a mafia drama, because Vincenzo works as a member of the mafia. So the things that he does are very mafia-like, and he works dirty. I'm going to tell you that now. He works dirty. He's fine with getting his hands dirty. He's fine with torture. At one point, you will learn that his original adopted parents were killed, and one of the things that he did in the mafia was he found his killer and kept him alive for several years and tortured him. And if he ever got in critical condition, he would pay for that man to be brought back to life so he could continue to torture him. That is the feeling that I'm going to give you about this show. He's okay with torture. You will be experiencing a large amount of torture, especially for the villains of this TV show. The main two villains of this TV show experience horrible deaths. Deaths that are meant to, traumatize you, to make sure you don't do stupid stuff like they did. Okay? I'm going to tell you that now. I'm not going to tell you their deaths because I don't want to really scare you, but I want to scare you, and I want it to be a surprise. So if you want to go watch Vincenzo, you can find it on Netflix. The angst level for this show is a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 specifically for one of the characters that ends up passing that made me very upset. None of the main characters end up passing except for our two villains. We have 4 actual villains, but 2 of them end up dying really bad, and then the other 2 end up, just having quicker deaths, but still sad. One of them was way sadder than it should have been, and it was an unnecessary death, and I was very upset. The entire world was upset about his death, and I hate everybody. I hate the actor that ended up killing him. That's a lie. I love Oh Tae-kyun. Oh Tae-kyun plays one of our main characters, and he is a great actor. Great actor. And I'm going to tell you this now. I was really sad about this. I was really sad about the fact that a lot of people did not know that Oh Tae-kyun is a part of a K-pop group called 2PM. You can find their music easily on YouTube. They are no longer active, but they used to be for a while. But right now they're currently just, not all of them are doing music at the moment. Yeah. But he's a part of a group called Oh Tae-kyun. So the show actually has a bunch of random references to both his band and his members. Actually, his members make an appearance in one of the episodes. They're in a TV show on the screen that he is watching. He's just sitting there watching a K-drama, and they're just kind of following through for the episode. Very cute, very funny. But at the same time, this show is meant to, I want to tell you now, this show is meant to be dark. It's meant to be slightly horrifying. It's meant to give you small heart palpitations. You are meant to be scared. There are going to be a few jump scares, especially those last 4 episodes. You're going to be sad most of the time. You're going to be upset most of the time. You're going to be experiencing a lot of emotions in this exact moment. But one of the main emotions you're going to be feeling is laughter, because this is meant to be something dark and horrifying at the same time. But there's also a lot of characters that are meant to be funny characters. They are literally there to make you laugh. So for example, the people of this building that is on top of this vault, they are here to make you laugh. They're here to be the weird owners of these small businesses that are just kind of living their life in this building, and they're meant to make you laugh. There is a young woman who, she kind of always has her hair down. She kind of looks from the character from The Ring, but she's always playing piano. She runs a small piano. She runs a small piano school. There's also a mom and a son. The mom runs a little snack shop. The son still goes to school. They're freaking funny. The first episode, just kind of whooping his behind because he's, a child and being rude and disrespectful and not doing the things that he should be for school. So always funny, always hilarious. They end up growing to be a lot more of a family than you would think they would. And I personally, when I first saw this show, my first thought was that, it's going to be him trying to get into this vault. Because the commercial doesn't tell you much other than that he's trying to take this building down. And I personally thought the show was going to be him trying to get into the vault, but end up becoming friends with these people. It gets a lot darker than I thought it would. This show is very dark. We're going to say that now. This show is very dark. This show is very sad, and you will be very sad most of the time. but I would still give this show a 10 out of 10 because the storyline, the acting, everything about this show is so good. The action level, so good. And of course, Song Joong Ki, he did awesome for the main role. He did. Not only did I watch this, I've also watched Space Sweepers, which is also on Netflix because he's got a lot of shows that he did that released this year, and I think he's actually doing another show that should be releasing this year. It's a good. It's a good energy. Go watch it. So if I had to rank these 3 shows in actual order, I would go Vincenzo, Tale of a Thousand Stars, and finally Killer and Healer. I would love these shows. The romance in Vincenzo is very sweet. I really like it. The romance in A Tale of a Thousand Stars also really nice. The bromance also very nice. I loved everything single second of both of these shows. I would 30 out of 10 would recommend all of these shows to you guys if you find whatever genre that is more suited for you. If you would like to see me do any more of these, show analyzation videos, let me know. I enjoy talking to you guys about the shows that I watch. I usually talk about them when I do my bi-monthly favorites video. So if you really like my bi-monthly favorites videos, just wait for them. I have them up on my channel. If this video was not your style and you didn't like the style of this video, or this video just wasn't so captivating for you, I have a lot of other content from drawing and art and things like that to journaling, fashion videos. Speaking of which, I need to get back into doing some more fashion videos. I need to get back into doing a bunch of aesthetic videos. I do have some hair reviews, some skincare reviews, some item reviews, very nice, and some vlogs. So if this video was just not your energy or not your ideal sit down and watch video, I have other content. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, give it a like, subscribe if you want to see more of me. If you want to see even more of me, follow me on all my social media, which will be linked down below, including my small business, my TikTok, Instagrams, and Twitters. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.